Welcome to Beers with Rich. I'm Rich, editor of Under the Radar Report. We've been working very hard this week running our ruler over loads of companies because in this market, good profitable stocks are being thrown out indiscriminately. First, I'm going to talk about the market like last week because I know it's tough out there. Being an investor myself, it hasn't been easy. But the underlying cause of everything, you have to go back to first principles. The underlying cause of everything is that 30 to 40% rise in the cost of capital, that we saw in the second half of 2022 with the US 10-year bond yield. So that has set the scene for a more difficult conditions, as we've been talking about, companies having to run harder just to stand still. So as I keep saying, and it is a truism, I know, but you've got to own quality companies. And luckily, a lot of that quality is now available at value prices. It's on sale. So right now what I'm talking about is there's price risk at the big end of town, but opportunities at the small end. Why is that? Well, the ASX is one of the probably the most concentrated market at the world, with 10 companies sort of being almost 50% of the market capitalization. So what that's meant is that money has poured in. It's only become more concentrated as when there's increasing interest rates. People like at the big end of town, they poured into the big bank. They poured money into the big banks, into the big resources, and the small cap field after being sold was left fallow. We've seen that with the low volumes that have been sustained, and these low volumes create opportunities for retail investors. It's a classic situation where retail investors can benefit, and they can get in before big institutions or big fund managers come to the party. So it's happened before, and I'll talk about it quickly. But what we did this week, we found, or we initiated coverage on a classic value play. This company is trading at dividend yield of 7%, single-digit PE, return on capital is in excess of 20%, return on invested capital. So we're talking quality. That's what's on offer. This week we also added 5 stocks that are quality to our best buys. These are stocks that have strong balance sheets and are growing profits. So, as I was saying before, the market's ignoring the earnings of some small caps. Well, this can only go on for so long before the law of mathematics catches up and investors, especially at the big end of town, are forced into these stocks. And this has happened time again. And our performance sort of indicates that, or highlights that. Like we're talking Macquarie Telecom, Scali, Elders, Collins Foods, all names our subscribers would know because these stocks have delivered 8, 9, 10-fold on our initial buy tips. I can go on. But this week's actually interesting as well because we cover 15 what we call subscriber picks. These are stocks that our subscribers have sent to us. And the one thing in common with all these 15 stocks is that they need more research done on them. So you can't invest in something if you don't know what you're getting. And that's where we come in. So one that caught my eye was Sheffield Resources, SFX is the code. It has its foot on a really large mineral sands project, which includes zircon, where there's likely to be a future shortage because Iluka is closing a plant. So the project's fully funded, 75% complete. So they're ready to hit the button, but investors just aren't interested. They're not interested because no one covers it. And that's different from Iluka, that's far more established. The point is that a lot of research is needed. You need to do a lot of research to understand a pretty complicated situation. Basic independent due diligence is required. So the bottom line is that there's quality out there at value prices. There's never been a better time to be trawling in the market and finding companies that are literally gems. And that's better than beer. But speaking of which, what have we got for you this week? Better Farm Pale. Well, it's nothing like to the point advertising, I'll say that. It's from WA. New World Hopped Easy Drinking Ale. Well, let's crack it. Let's find out if it's easy drinking. I'll be the judge of that. Cracked. It is easy drinking. I've had beer from Beer Farm before and it's been far more expressive. This one, I guess you can drink it without thinking. Anyway, looking forward to seeing you next week on Beers with Rich. Cheers for now.